Greetings, Rex Splash here with another vague comic review. And this one is going to be a little cluttered. It's Archie Sonic comic number 162, and the volume itself is called The Darkest Storm, Part 1. Now, this chapter has three plots going on at once, and I'm going to explain each one individually instead of the mix-up they have in the chapter. Now, the first part of the plot is Sonic and his friends save a character named Sir Connery, the Paladin, and Merlin, I'm going to call him the Wizard. He's a guy that knows magic. And Merlin happens to be the uncle of Tails. So they were attacked, the duo were attacked by a group called Destructrix. Think of them like a gang that work for the bad guys and do whatever they want to do when they're hired to do it. Okay, so Sonic and his friends save them. And then Merlin, he tells Sonic that he has to speak to the king of Mobius, who happens to be expecting and happy to see Merlin back. And Merlin explains that the Chaos Emerald he holds in his hand, it houses a host, which is a bad guy. And this guy's name is Mammoth Mogul. Now, Merlin explains that Mammoth Mogul has been around since the ancient times, but when Chaos Emeralds fell from the sky, one of them lodged into Mammoth Mogul's chest. So it not only gave him power, it kept him alive, and it gave him wisdom, so he became extremely intelligent. And with that, of course, he tried to rule the planet many times, and always failed. Why? Well, Merlin explains that it's because the ancient walkers, they're kind of like the higher. Well, they used to be dinosaurs also, but when the Chaos Emeralds fell from the sky, for some reason they were able to link with the Chaos Emeralds, also with its power, and they became sort of enlightened. So they're able to see, understand more than anyone else. It ascended them literally to another plane of existence. And the ancient walkers foresaw what Mammoth Mogul would do, so they actually put a curse on the very Chaos Emerald, I believe before it lodged onto Mammoth Mogul's chest. Now what this curse is whenever Mammoth Mogul declares power, gains it, he always makes some sort of mistake, just when he's at the height of his ascension. So that explains why in the past comics, whenever Mammoth Mogul has a stronger super form, or he takes over, or he has a large order of followers, something happens in which he always fails. Basically, he's fated to always lose. That's how the ancient walkers made sure Mammoth Mogul wouldn't take over the planet. Now the issue is, the ancient walkers are dying. And Merlin explains that, look, there was a lot that happened in previous comics, and one of them is that at one point, Mammoth Mogul was trapped in the Master Emerald. And then during the Sonic issue in which Eggman released a being called Chaos, Mammoth Mogul was also freed. Well, when he was freed from that Master Emerald, he used all of his power to damage and not kill, but weaken the ancient walkers to the point that they started dying ever since. So basically, right now, Mammoth Mogul is trapped in another emerald because he tried to take over again and was trapped in his own Chaos Emerald this time. Well, Merlin explains that if Mammoth Mogul leaves this emerald, the ancient walkers will die. That's all he says. So they have to hurry. They're on a time crunch. So that's why Merlin appeared before the king. He needs the king's the king's crown. Now, I know I'm throwing a little too much here, and I apologize, but there's a little more exposition. The king's crown and sword, they're both made of something called the Source of All. Now, the Source of All is similar to the Chaos Force, or the Chaos Emeralds. It is a source of power, but is, from what Sally explains, it is like the code to everything, just purified. So the Source of All, it's basically what, my personal belief, the Source of All can counter in contract with the Chaos Force itself, because Mammoth Mogul had used a Sword of Acorns to completely drain the power of Enerjack immediately. Janie Cock could do the same thing to Dark Enerjack, and so on and so forth. So Merlin wants to use these two items, but before he can do anything, the Chaos Emerald breaks immediately, and Mammoth Mogul stands before them. Alright, now on to plot number 2. Eggman is watching the egg grapes in his chamber with his assistant named Mecha. Now, Eggman is getting excited because once he drains these egg grapes of all life, he's going to use them to, well, not use the egg grapes, but he's going to use the egg grapes to wipe out everything in the void of dimension. Once he does that, he'll have pure energy to siphon off of them. And he's going to use this energy to place into the husk of bodies in which he drained all the life of. It's messed up, but that's his goal. Now, before he can do anything, some spider ninjas arrive. And now, this is not all accidental. The whole time the story is going on, there's a narrator saying that he's planning this whole thing. Someone had planned Mammoth to appear. Someone had planned for the spider ninjas to appear. But it'll be explained in the end. So the spider ninjas arrive, and at the same time that's happening, the egg grapes are overheating. So Eggman and Mecha quickly get out of that room, which is what Anonymous. That's what the super mysterious villain is called. Anonymous wanted Eggman to leave the chamber because the spider ninjas, they had a sword with them. The Sword of Acorns. See, that's what Merlin was missing. Which I forgot to mention. The Sword of Crowns, that's what the king had, but they needed a Sword of Acorns that Sally had given the spider children. Well, they used a sword to open up a dimension, and that's just enough to free Ixis Naugus. And he is a wizard. A very weird looking wizard. He has a claw, horns. He looks like a troll. I do not know what he was supposed to be at first. But that's enough to release Ixis Naugus, the magician. And he now has a Sword of Acorns. So he uses that to teleport him and the spider children away. Because as he tells Eggman, his goal at the moment is to get to get the Crown of Acorns. When he has a crown and a sword together, he will be unstoppable. So they leave. Now, why did the children use the sword? And how did that correlate with Mammoth Mogul coming out? Well, that's the third chapter. Now, the Ancient Walkers are in a higher plane of existence talking with two other characters named Aurora and Aether. And the Ancient Walkers are telling these two echidnas that soon the Ancient Walkers are going to die. They know they're dying. They felt it. They've been planning everything up to this point. So basically, they're telling Aurora and Aether that those two plus Merlin will be the new Watchers after they die. They basically want these three characters to take their place. So while they're talking, a dimensional rift opens up, and that dimensional opening is what kills the Ancient Walkers immediately. And that's how it ends. So that's how all the three plots connect. The Arachna kids the spider ninjas use a Sword of Acorns to open up a dimension. Opening that up is what was able to kill the Ancient Walkers. And because the Ancient Walkers were killed, their curse over the Master Emerald was also destroyed. So Mammoth Mogul is not only free from their curse, he's also free of any misjudgment. So he basically can take over the world now and not make mistakes anymore. If he ever loses, it's because other characters have to overcome him. And yeah, the chapter ended there. There's a lot to go on and a lot to explain. And you know what? It'll be, to the newer listener, they probably have no idea what I was talking about half the time. And I cannot blame them. The Archie Sonic comics, they were fun, but they added way too much. That unless you were reading it, carefully, you would be lost wondering, okay, who is this fox female? And why is she Sonic's girlfriend? Who are these four guys? Why are they called Destructex? Who is this guy? Why does he know magic? Why is there a floating echidna who keeps appearing and disappearing? Why does Eggman also called Robotnik. Why does he have an assistant named Mecha? And who is this anonymous? And yeah, it's too much. I'm gonna post this anyway, just because. Why not? I'm thinking about maybe making it easier for anyone who happens to be listening and explain little by little, about the characters themselves. Anyway, thanks for listening.